I've gone ahead and filled in some data into the tables that we created in the last movie. Now I want to show you how the database uses what it knows about our tables and their relationships to give us some useful information. First, I want to take a look at this line items table here. We can see that the line item is storing an invoice ID number that's a reference to our invoices table. It's storing the line item, so the number on the invoice. It's storing the product ID, which again refers to a product in our products table. And it's storing the quantity that has been ordered. Now, we have all of this data, but it really doesn't convey any true information to me. For instance, I really want to know who placed the order, and I'd like to also know which products were ordered, not just some ID number. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we can use something called a query inside of Access to start building out a data table that meets my specific needs here. Let's go ahead and close the line items table. And to create a query, I'm going to go up to this Create tab and choose Query Design here. That's going to give me this Show Table window, just like we saw when we set up our relationships. In this case, I'm going to choose all 4 tables. So let's select Customers and Shift-click on the last one and choose Add. Go ahead and close the Show Table window, and that'll put up all of the different tables that are involved in my database. So I've got my Customers table, the invoices, then we have the line items, and then the products that were ordered. Now all I need to do is select which fields I want to see in a virtual table that assembles a table based off of the fields from other data tables. So in this table, I want to choose the first name, and I'm just going to double-click on these, and last name from the customers table, and that'll add this to the grid down below here. So that'll tell me the customer that's placing an order. Then I want to see the invoice number from the invoices table. So I'll double-click that. Then I want to see the line item from the line items table. I also want to see what quantity that they ordered of that particular product. In order to see which product they ordered, I'm going to click on the oil type. That'll give us the name. And I also want to get the price of that particular oil. Finally, I want to get a grand total for how much each customer spent on each line item. In order to do that, I need to calculate the price times the quantity in order to get the total. I'll come into this last column over here that's blank, and I'll type in the word total, followed by a colon, and then I'll just type in the formula, quantity times price, and press Enter. That'll refer to these other columns here, the quantity column and the price column. Now my query is set up, I can go ahead and press the Run button up here on the ribbon, and that'll generate a temporary table that shows me exactly the information that I need. So you can see that it expands on what was presented in the original line items table. Now I can see that Michelle Booker placed invoice ID number 1 that had 2 items, line 1 and line 2. The first line was for 7 bottles of the first cold press oil at $12 a bottle for a total of $84. The second line was for a quantity of 3 bottles of the extra virgin oil at $14 a piece for a total of $42. So that's how we can use queries inside of our database to reassemble our data tables and put the information back together again in any configuration we might need.